Kevin Durant was already dealing with a calf injury, and there was this potential idea that they were going to maybe bring him back. Well, is Kevin Durant going to come back? The problem is that the Warriors were in a very desperate situation, and they rushed it. They put Kevin Durant in that Game 5 of the NBA Finals. And in that Game 5 of the NBA Finals, Kevin Durant got hurt again. The re-injury risk for Kevin Durant going into that game was very high, but the Warriors were in a situation to where they needed help and they needed it quick. If I was correct, that game, the Warriors were down 3-1 to the Toronto Raptors. And they ended up winning that Game 5. Kevin Durant came in, he played one quarter, and the Warriors were giving the Raptors smoke in that first quarter. I think he was 11 for 11. And then all of a sudden he got hurt, and the news broke that Kevin Durant will now miss all of the next season. Now, Kevin Durant became a free agent, and he eventually agreed to sign with the Brooklyn Nets, and he is, as of right now, has not played a single game in a Brooklyn Nets uniform. They revealed his injury, and they said that, listen, Kevin Durant is going to be out for the entire season, and that's the way it looked. It was a bad injury. But the problem was, and I don't look at this as a negative thing, is that the season was delayed. The coronavirus came in, and the second that Gobert tested positive, they shut the league down, and all of the other sports leagues followed. That was the problem with it, okay? And now, people were joking about it at first. Oh, what if Kevin Durant comes back? But now, as the days go on, it's seeming more and more possible that Kevin Durant could actually come back. Now, the Nets right now are 7th seed. If the season ended today, they would be playing the Toronto Raptors in the first round. Now, Kyrie Irving, being who he is, and again, this is not a knock on Kyrie Irving, he got hurt again, and he will miss the rest of the season. Now, I don't think there's any chance that he could come back this season. I really don't know. And, you know, Kevin Durant by himself is good enough to give the Brooklyn Nets a deep playoff run. The problem is Kevin Durant himself good enough to bring the Brooklyn Nets to the NBA Finals? Because there are a lot of good teams now in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are good. The Bucks have been on another level that nobody else has really touched. The Raptors are good. But all the teams that I think are 4, 5, 6, the Brooklyn Nets could beat. I think they could beat Miami. I think they could beat Indiana. Honestly, even with Kevin Durant, I know people say the Sixers are just an inconsistent mess. I really do think that the Nets, with Kevin Durant, could beat the Philadelphia 76ers. I really don't think the Philadelphia Sixers are about that. They have all of these guys on their team that are very elite and very good players. And on paper, they should run away with the Eastern Conference. But the problem is that they never click at the same time, and the team is not consistent. And it shows a lot in the playoffs. The Sixers are a very good team, but they don't always have it all together. And that's the problem. But Kevin Durant's, presence alone is good enough for a deep playoff run. Is it good enough to beat a team like the Milwaukee Bucks? I'm not sure about that. I'm not. Now, if you add Kyrie Irving into the mix, I think that the Brooklyn Nets should be the favorite to be in the finals. To win the finals, I'm not sure. But going into this season, if there was anything that I wanted to see, it was the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA Finals. I would have loved to, I think I'd speak for everybody, we would have all loved to have seen Kyrie Irving and KD taking on LeBron and Anthony Davis. I don't think it would get much better than that. I think the duo of Durant and Irving would be better than LeBron and Anthony Davis, even though they're both phenomenal players. There would be nothing as sweet as to see a 2-on-2. And again, I'm not trying to just include all the other players, but everybody would be focusing on that. And that would just be an awesome thing to watch. That's still possible because the Nets are in the playoffs. And, well, we're not going to see Kyrie Irving, so let's forget that. And I'm not sure Kevin Durant's going to be rushed back again because we saw what happened the first time he was rushed back. But they said that Kevin Durant looks good. The GM did state that he would miss the season. But then again, that was then and this is now. The Nets are in 7th seed and would face the Toronto Raptors. We will have to keep you updated on that because we don't know what's going to happen. KD's presence alone makes the Eastern Conference a very scary place. And I think, can they beat the Raptors? I don't know. I really don't know. Again, even if KD comes back at 75% of what he was, he is better than majority of players in the league. And he does have that it factor to him to where he can lead a team. There are very few players in the league that have a leadership type of thing to bring out better in their teammates. LeBron has it. certain guys just have it. Giannis has it. Certain guys are phenomenally talented, but they don't have that presence. When you're in the NBA and you see LeBron on the other side of the court, it's game time, okay? Regardless, that is that. CP3. Chris Paul is at a point in his career where he is very old, and he is probably getting, well, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's getting to a point where he is just bouncing on different teams. He spent majority of his career on the Clippers, put up great numbers. He played for the Rockets. That didn't really, that trade was made for Russell Westbrook, which I think the Rockets really did benefit from. And now he's on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's actually had a pretty good year this year. If I'm correct, CP3 has averaged 31.8 minutes a game, and he's averaged 17.7 points per game. If there's anything that the New York Knicks need, it is a consistent point guard and a consistent scorer. And that is the problem. The Knicks have not had a consistent scorer. We have players that are talented on our team. That's not the problem. The problem is we don't have players that can take over the game. Julius Randle's a good player, but we need a person that can take over the game. And that's not me saying that Chris Paul at his age is going to take over the game, but we need a player that is going to rub off on other players, and that's going to show in the game, okay? Chris Paul, being one of the best point guards ever, coming to the Knicks would be a blessing, because we don't know if he would start. I'm assuming he probably would start. And even if he was on the bench, he can bring so much knowledge to our point guards. Frank Ntilikina desperately needs to learn how to be a sufficient scorer. He's great on defense, but he cannot score. Kevin Knox is not a point guard, but he needs to be taught how to score or take less shots. Elfrid Payton has been a bright spot for the Knicks at point guard, okay? And then there's brain is going blank. I'll think about it later. But the Knicks in general, beyond a point guard standpoint, just need a leader. There's no leader on the Knicks. There's a bunch of young and very old veteran players that just play together as a team, and it just is not good basketball, okay? It's not good. They're not good. A lot of the people will say that the problems reside with Dolan. Some of them do, some of them don't. The problem is there's no leadership on the Knicks. So regardless of what CP3 would deliver on the court, I think the Knicks signing CP3 would be a beautiful thing to do, because he can elevate the team, and I think he could teach a lot to those players. If there's any guy that I've desperately wanted on the Knicks, while this is not realistic, it was LeBron James. Because you look at the teams, even that Cleveland team, the last year LeBron was on Cleveland and made it to the finals and they got smacked, LeBron took over that game. His teammates played awful, but he took over that game. He took over his team. He put his team on his back. Now, are the Knicks ready for that? No, the Knicks are not ready for any deep playoff run. Chris Paul will not take the Knicks on any deep playoff run. But Chris Paul can elevate this Knicks team that is in desperate, dire need of help. Okay? That is what I think about that. I think the Knicks should go after CP3 as much as they can, because we see what he's doing with the Thunder. Okay? The Thunder are a good team. Again, not going to win anything, but the Thunder are a good team, and CP3 has played well on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Elton Brand, Mr. General Manager. Team practice facilities, now I don't know if this happened already or this is actually scheduled to happen tomorrow, are supposed to open tomorrow. But they have strict policies on them. Elton Brand has said the teams will play this season specifically as late as September 7th. And they were saying that the adjustment of perhaps next NBA season could start in the month of December. I think that's not a bad idea. Because again, regardless, now I think at this point, whatever happens, if the NBA resumes, I don't think you could start the season in October. Are you serious? Let's say next week. It's not going to happen. Next week they start it. The NBA playoffs are 10 centuries long. So, the NBA finals were scheduled to start in the second week of April. And as we sit right now, we may not even be in the conference finals yet. They may still be at the end of the semifinal round. The NBA playoffs are so long where they take almost 2 months to complete. So start today, finals are in July. Start July, finals are in September. It all adds up. If the NBA makes the decision to start the season in potentially June, let's be realistic, May is probably shot. But let's say June, maybe even July, the finals aren't going to take place until Labor Day. So for them to say that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Now, the NBA opening practice facilities is very strict. The facilities are for players right now that have been opened are for players that need essential rehab and treatment. We're talking players that have undergone injuries, players that need different types of treatment, and so on and so forth. Guys like Kyrie Irving probably have access to these facilities if they don't have a giant one inside of their house. Different things like that. Now, facilities are scheduled to open on Friday, but there will be no more than 4 players at a time on the court, or I believe or not, or 4 players allowed, and I think that that's kind of stingy. I think that's stingy because a starting lineup consists of 5 players, and you can't really work as much with 4 guys. Who is going to be cut out? Why don't you just cut out a power forward? I don't even know why there's a power forward position in the NBA, to be honest with you. No coaches are allowed. That is also a detriment. No coaches are allowed in the facilities, so teams can't get back into the rhythm and back into their practices. The facilities are supposed to help out guys who have been doing nothing. You have to think about this too. There have been some guys that have said they haven't touched a basketball since the season underwent suspension. How do you have guys that haven't? Do you know what the NBA season will look like if they go straight from March 11th to then with no training, no coaching, and nothing? It is going to look like a bunch of elementary kids shooting at a basketball park. These are guys that are practicing their craft every single day. Giannis said himself he hadn't touched a basketball in God knows how long. That's scary. That's scary. These guys, this is their life. So, you know, it's one of those things, like I said, you know, the facilities are supposed to help out the guys, and I think that it's important. Obviously, in certain places you can't do it because there's stay-at-home restrictions, and I understand that. But the facilities being open are important because how long is it going to take these players to get back into shape? When you're a rigorous athlete training for an extended period of time and all of a sudden you stop, watch what happens the next time some of these guys pick up a basketball. They're going to be like, what the hell happened to me? Where's my jump shot? Some of them didn't have a jump shot to begin with, but that's beyond me. That's beyond me. Now, they need to do this carefully, and I think that they're taking the precautions that they need to. The question is, the next step for the NBA would probably be, when can they open the facilities to the whole team? I think that this is a good start, and they have to see what happens. Again, a lot of the spreading of the virus in certain locations, the hospitalizations, at least where I'm located, are starting to trend downwards. And if you look at it from a graphical standpoint, it's starting to trend downwards. There's still people being infected, but let's say 4,000 a day, now it's 3,800. It's 3,900, now it's 3,600. It's going down. And your goal is to have nobody really getting infected as much anymore. So we're going to see what the NBA does, basically how they're going to do it. You know, I think one of the things people don't realize too is that when they resume play without fans, they're still going to encourage a lot of fans that are probably going to gather outside the arena. That's another thing that I thought about late, is that there's probably going to be a lot of fans that are gathering outside of the arena prior to the game. And that doesn't really encourage social distancing, because, you know, if you've ever been in an area where a celebrity is close, everybody's on top of you. You ever been at a general admission concert? It's just going to be the same thing. So again, that's not, you know, they have to be careful with it. MLB, I don't really have too much words on them, but today was strictly basketball because I feel like I haven't talked about basketball since 1912. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all those things, and have a great day.